What's going on, personal trainer Brenton?
What's going on, everybody?
We have a question from our audience, and we want to share some light to that first. I think it's going to be really interesting. The question is, so I overate a lot of junk food and noticed my stomach is getting bigger. What should I do? Definitely fix my sleep, and I'm thinking of adding planks before bed. So that's the question from our audience. Let's go and dive in. I want to know what are your thoughts first, Brenton? You go first.
He or she is consuming junk food late at night before they go to
Yep.
sleep. First off, I would tell them you are aware of what you're doing and what needs to be changed. That's something you are already aware of. And you have to just take small steps and not consuming junk food late
Yeah,
before
it's just,
bed.
yeah, I think part of it's, I mean, obviously it's a struggle for me, but for a lot of people that, our relationship with food and how should we actually should see it if we're going to, work out, and what does food really do for you? How does it supplement you after a workout? So,
Mhm.
having an understanding what that does for you, can probably help you, but also I don't know about you, Brenton, but there's some foods that we've kind of grown up to, and it's hard to resist the temptation of eating those favorite types of foods. What do you think?
I don't see nothing wrong in having like some type of junk food that you love every now and then,
Yeah,
just and don't overdo it. Easier said than done, but
yeah. I think part of it too is also your environment, right? So going back to your environment, like who you live with, who you surround yourself, plays a huge factor. But also at the same time, you can it's gonna be about some good discipline if you're really about it. So
yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to think too though, how many times are you eating per day? Are you
yeah,
consuming like if you eat meat, are you consuming like a chicken or a
yeah,
turkey burger or something like that, or fish, salad, legumes, beans? I guess I say all of that. If you're not getting enough food in per day or per week, that can lead to your body being comfortable with that routine of consuming that junk food. I would say I'm not knowing the total picture of what's going on with your nutrition. I
right.
would say that can be something where you consume more healthy foods throughout your day in
Yeah.
moderation, and that can probably feel that feeling of satiety, just necessity to want to consume.
Yeah. Going back to the question here, I think some people have a hard time understanding like what the stomach is. The stomach is for digestion. When you think about food, you think about the intestines, the insides, your organs, the digestive tract. When you're thinking about exercise, you have to transition to thinking about muscle, your abdominals.
Keep going, brother. Keep
All right.
going.
All right. So when you think about the abs, right? Our abs, we think about the muscles that we need to pay attention to is the rectus abdominis. We think about these other two, one external obliques, internal obliques. There's another one called transverse abdominis. The last bit of it says, what should I do? Definitely fix my sleep. And I'm thinking about adding planks.
I mean, if you recognize that you need more sleep, that definitely try your best to find a schedule that works for your personal life. Being able to get more sleep helps the body rest and recovery, to help
Yeah.
the muscles recover. As far as the workout, do that. Continue to challenge yourself by increasing the length as time goes past. 30,
20.
15 seconds, 30 seconds. Work with that for about a week, 2 weeks, and then if you feel you can do more, increase the time. You'll be able to notice the adaptations. I'm doing something similar, except I'm doing push-ups every day.
Speaking about core muscles and like exercise that you can do, Brenton posted a fantastic post on our Instagram showing a little bit of things that you could probably do.
I released back pain relief and core strengthening exercise continuum to look through. A couple of examples of exercises that I had in there: IT band, stretch, cat cow, knees to chest, rocking from side to side.
But one of them you definitely added, and especially for the core. This is kind of like almost like a variation of a plank, the bird dog.
I love the bird dog. That's when get in a tabletop position, you engage your core, really try to squeeze your butt muscle so that you have like a neutral spine. You're lifting one arm up and the opposite leg up in the air at the same time and changing sides.
All right, enough with that question. Fantastic question, by the way. Let's dive a little more deeper about muscle growth.
When I think about muscle growth, I think about what it is, muscle hypertrophy. To be able to get those adaptations, you would change acute variables.
Well, let's
Go
do an
ahead.
example. So like suppose if I'm just doing a bicep curl, standing bicep curl, barbell, I'm holding with both hands, going up and down.
You can change the variable in your tempo. I would go 202, go in the strength tempo. 2 second in your concentric motion.
2 seconds up,
Means the
like
shortening
this.
of the muscle. 0 second hold, and then 2 seconds of lengthening the muscle, the eccentric phase. Other variables can be how long you wait before you start your next set. So your rest time in between sets. Generally, it would be 1 minute. Limiting the amount of time you use to start your next set can have a couple factors in it. If you limit your amount of time, the amount of oxygen available to that muscle is just down, and you just have less of it. And then ways that you can battle that to improve that is to improve your cardio, and that will help your muscle building.
How would that look like for that 1 week?
For that 1 week, you might have it where you do for that specific exercise 4 sets of anywhere in the rep range from 8 to 12 reps. The next week, you might increase the amount of weight that you're lifting, or you might increase the amount of repetitions that you are doing.
You're overloading your muscles, right? So there's a word we didn't really touch on. Let's touch upon the word progressive overload. So we're talking about that. Progressive overload is like systematic increase in training frequency, volume, and intensity in various combinations. So like as we spoke, you're experimenting with the rep ranges, also your intensity with how many pounds you're lifting that. So if you're doing a bicep curl, right? The first week let's say you're starting with 15 pounds for a barbell. Next week or the third week, maybe 5 pounds heavier. That's going to help to progressively overload your muscles and feel that kind of uncomfortable state. Also, what's quite important is that we don't lose our form, really focusing on that tension as we lift that barbell all the way to the top. If we're talking about a bicep curl, the loading it down, the eccentric phase going down.
The next thing we want to talk about, important in muscle building, is proper nutrition with adequate protein intake. I say that because protein should be distributed through your meals to support muscle growth and recovery. That means including protein in your breakfast, lunch, dinner, and even snacks. For adequate protein intake, it usually comes from meats that are lean, right? Like meats, poultry, fish, dairy, eggs, beans, legumes, anywhere in the range as far as protein, 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight per day.
So let's say if I weigh about 180 pounds, right? So let's say 0.8 multiplied by 180. So if you were to do that on your own weight, multiply by that range, so that's 144 grams of protein daily.
Usually you wouldn't know unless you really pay attention to what you're eating and use tools like MyFitnessPal, where when you log your food in, you can see how much protein you had for the day.
Yeah, these numbers that we're telling you, it wouldn't make any sense if you don't have some sort of tracking or have like a guesstimate of like knowing that that's how much protein you're eating. Any resources that you can educate you to how does a balanced meal look like for your protein, for your vegetables, things like that. You focus on your protein first on your plate. What goes next is obviously your choice of carbs, then your choice of fat.
When I go grocery shopping, that's what I think about. I'm like, okay, I know I eat these major protein. I'm gonna get turkey burgers, salmon, and grilled chicken. Then I might grab mixed vegetable, personal pan pizza to have throughout the week. Definitely start to think about like your sides at mixed vegetables, potatoes, the beans, tacos with the turkey ground beef, smoothie.
And not just to say that you're gonna have protein shake and that's it. Eating whole foods, it's not supposed to be a replacement, but supplements. An efficient way and an easy way to get your protein in.
As far as rest and recovery, when you're doing your workout, you're breaking down the muscle fiber when you train. When you're resting and recovery, the fibers repair and they grow rest days. They're going to help your muscle and central nervous system be able to recuperate. And nutrition is energy that helps rebuild glycogen in your muscle.
Yeah, I'm glad that you touched upon that, a little bit of education on that. And don't worry, it's not that scary. It's not scary that you're breaking down muscle fibers. It's very, very important to do that. That goes hand in hand with rest in between your sets, but also rest right after your workout.
Another thing we want to touch on in muscle building, the component of compound exercises. Think about your squats, lunges, bench press, deadlifts. Those movements require multiple muscles to be working to be able to perform that movement.
It's a good call. Compound movements can really be a huge benefit to recruit bigger muscles.
Another thing, what do you think about, Warren, with higher training volume and frequency of your workout?
With higher volumes, and there's nothing wrong with increasing your reps, 15 plus reps.
Yeah, 15.
You can still create hypertrophy and muscle growth.
You might change your amount of sets. You might do like 2 sets of 20 reps, requiring more oxygen. You're running out of oxygen. The higher amount of reps you're going up. I could explain like the volume, the amount of exercises that you're doing per day, the amount of reps, the amount of sets, load that you have on there. That all contributes to the amount of training volume that you have per day. And frequency, we talk about how many days are you doing a certain movement pattern, like the squat, upper body, or push, pull, the hinge movement. And training value is calculated by multiplying the number of sets, the number of reps, and weight lifted, and that adds to like your total workload. If you initially do 3 sets of 10 with a certain weight, your weight might increase to 4 sets of 12, or increase the weight. That type of regression challenges your muscles and encourages them to adapt and grow. Consistency is key. Following a program that's structured to reach towards your goals. There's always changes that you have to do within your program so that you don't plateau. If your goal is to build muscle, changing different acute variables is going to allow for you to get those muscle adaptations.
Fantastic episode. We talked about what you can do to work on your core, what you eat, for your nutrition. The big one, we talked about how you can grow your muscles. There's so many ways you can change that with different types of variables. Hope y'all have a great day, great week, great weekend. Catch y'all in the next episode. Take care.
Peace.